Welcome to the Shards official podcast. I'm Evan Ross Katz, podcaster and pop culture provocateur. I can't wait to get into this shocking new show from FX and Ryan Murphy. It's got everything: murder, money, and mystery. It's only fitting that we kick things off with some of the stars of the show. They're at the center of the unfolding madness. It's Igby Rigney, Kaia Gerber, and Homer Gear. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
having us.
having us.
So I want to start by asking you all about how this project came onto your radar. And Igby, I want to start with you.
Perhaps in the most traditional and boring way, as an actor, it was just an audition. I remember as soon as I read it, I knew that I had to play this character because they were just so beautifully written and they just really hit a part of me, and I auditioned and I called back and I screen tested and chem read, and then I had the wonderful honor of playing the character of Brett.
Now, Kaia, you're no stranger to the Ryan Murphy universe. And also you are an avid book reader. So I'm curious about how you found your way to this project.
Yes, I worked with Ryan on one of my first jobs. I did American Horror Stories. And then when The Shards came out, I was reading it. I'm such a Bret Easton Ellis fan. And right around the time I was reading it, I had a meeting with Brett about a different project. And I said at the end of the meeting, I was like, hey, I just have to say I'm such a big fan and I'm reading The Shards. And he just looked at me and he was like, you're Susan. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not Susan. I was like, I'm nothing like Susan, but it really stuck with me. And then Homer's laughing, whatever. And then Ryan called me, this is probably 2 or 3 years later, and was like, I love you and Brett loves you and we want you to play Susan. So I had a less traditional audition process than everyone else.
And Homer, what about for you? How did you find your way into this role?
I originally read for Tom. And then I sent in the Tom audition, and I heard back. I said, we want you to audition for Robert. And I was actually on a trip. I was in Ireland, and we were like in a hostel with like recording on my iPhone. But it went great. It went really great. Got called in to read in LA, where I met Ryan, and I met Igby, and I met Graham. And I was so nervous, like completely. I did one read with Igby. We did 2 scenes, and I didn't know how it went. And they just said, all right, Homer, you can go. And I thought that I completely screwed it up. And then I got a call from Ryan an hour later, and that was history.
So it's pretty clear, even from this first episode, that there is a lot of palpable tension within these 3 characters. And so I'm wondering, could each of you describe your perspective on how your character feels about the other 2?
The introduction is in episode 1. Robert walks up to this table of people he doesn't know.
Oh, hi. You must be Robert Mallory.
You must be Susan. I was just in Principal Croft's office. He told me I should come say hi. So hi. He takes a liking to these people. I think he wants to like Brett, but Brett has kind of a vendetta against Robert. And then I think...
We're all going to disagree about this.
I know. It's the thing about this is that it leaves so much up to interpretation that we all take the sides of our characters.
Well, it's interesting you say that you feel like Robert likes Brett, because that to me, it's like, that's super interesting. Igby, do you feel that way?
No. And I think the whole premise that he's walking up to a table full of people he doesn't know is absolutely false. He clearly sought out Brett and sought out the table.
This is crazy. I've never heard this
character
before.
Brett was
The
sitting.
girls are fighting yet again.
From my and Brett's perspective, that was an incredibly calculated move and something that was done intentionally. I don't know what the intention is yet.
From the perspective of anyone sane, I would say Robert's just a normal guy in a new high school trying to make some friends. And Brett is just, latching onto this guy for some...
And I would say that Robert was definitely in that movie theater in Westwood, and he continues to not be upfront about
Well,
that.
listen, you're an unreliable narrator, so we can't really know.
Oh, and Susan would say, everyone, let's take a deep breath. Why are we fighting? Can't we just all get along?
Brett and Robert can agree that they both really like Susan.
Mhm.
Susan is someone that they both want to be close with and be friends with. So, and that I think it creates a lot of the tension between Brett and Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much love that Brett has for Susan, and I think that's why he feels so protective of her and really wants to make sure that she's in a good place. And they are very, very close. And they grew up together. There's a childhood familiarity there that is so important to their dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And I think for Susan, you know, Brett is her best friend. They've known each other forever. They grew up together. I think Robert is this new person who comes, and this is a group of teenagers who have been around the same people their whole lives. So suddenly there's this newness. Also, you know, Susan is class president. I think she takes her responsibilities as a leader very seriously. So when she's told, you know, look out for this new kid coming to our school, it's not only, you know, a responsibility for her, but also I think exciting. And who is this mysterious person? And we shot that was actually, it was a gift. The first thing we shot was that lunch table scene where we meet Robert. And so, you know, it really was perfect for the dynamic of us as a cast and as characters, because we had this opening bit of the four of us, you know, Brett, Susan, Debbie, and Tom. And then you see Homer or Robert walking up to us in leather pants, and his hair done, looking like a movie star or a rock star. And we all really, I think our characters and us as people were like, and it just completely changed the energy at the table. And so I think it was so informative to film that first. And I know Ryan did that on purpose because he's a genius in that way.
Homer, now Robert seems to be a different person to everybody. I mean, obviously we're meeting him right now, so there's a journey ahead, but I think it's fair to say at this point. How did you approach the shape-shifting quality of the character?
It's really freeing as an actor playing him, because there doesn't need to be a continuity in the same way. You don't know where he's coming from, really, because this is all Brett's perspective, that he doesn't need to be the same person with each person he's with. He can be a reflection of them in some way. You know, the Robert that you see with Susan is a completely different person than the Robert you see with Brett, or even the Robert you see with Tom. So being able to have that extra license to play is really kind of unique.
AB, I'm curious about Brett's relationship with Robert. It's clear that he's sort of trying to size him up and figure out exactly how he feels about him. At times he seems to be attracted, at other times he seems to be disgusted. How would you sort of articulate Brett's understanding of Robert?
I think that Brett and Susan are attracted to Robert for a lot of the same reasons. I think that's one of the reasons that they're close to begin with, is they both have this awareness of a world outside of high school.
We were just talking about how excited we were to graduate and get the hell out of Los Angeles, finally start our lives. For sure, I'm going to school on the East Coast. Not even a question.
And Robert is entering their lives at a time where that's becoming a bigger consideration. So I think Brett is seeing the attraction of Robert in that way, because he does represent some larger ideas. And he's also figuring out his sexuality. Robert may be on a similar journey from
Robert
Brett's
already knows, babe.
perspective.
Robert's well aware.
So I get the impression that you all really like each other. Is that a fair assessment?
Hell yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
There's one person we all don't like, but we're not going to tell you.
You're not going to tell you which.
So I'm curious, when you think back upon the making of the show, was there a moment that you all realized that this isn't just going to be my cast, but these are actually going to be people that I really get along with and vibe with and want to spend time with?
I think it became clear really quickly. You guys were my main friend group, and both in the show and in real life. So it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It continues to be a pleasure.
You know, you'd think with an ensemble like this who's filming all day, every day together, that we'd get off work and be like, I don't want to see you until tomorrow. I need a few hours away. But we would get off work and either stay on set and want to keep hanging out, or go to someone's house, or go to a dive bar. Like, we really actually enjoyed each other so much. And it felt like luck to us, but I know Ryan knew exactly the group of people he was putting together. Like we really do love each other. I'm not just saying that because this is going to be aired to the public.
No, but it's true. Whenever you guys are in New York or I'm in LA, it's always a, hey, I'm in town. You guys want to get dinner?
I love watching you guys work. I love watching Kaya and Homer and Hayes and Graham just being behind the monitor and getting to see their different takes, and like, it's such a treat to be there and to witness all of that.
I mean, I have to say Igby, as, you know, a leader, Brett's the lead of the show. Igby's number one on the call sheet, and he sets such an incredible example. I mean, he had by far the biggest responsibility and the most amount of work on this show, and would show up still an hour early with coffee for everyone, like took such good care of all of us. And it was a really good example that you set, I have to say, on how to lead.
You couldn't ask for more.
Can I just add that I feel like you three have a lot of chemistry even now in this podcast? One person finishes a sentence, another one begins. It's kind of remarkable.
I don't think there's anyone on earth I've spent this much time
In the
with.
last
that's
year?
true.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Ever
maybe
in
my
your life?
parents and my brother. But other than that, you guys are up there, and I still like you, which is even crazier.
To close us out, I do want to ask each of you your favorite memory from shooting the pilot episode.
I think our first night shoot, like the party.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved the shooting the stuff in the pilot before a lot of the intrigue and the whodunit kind of got in there, because we got to explore our friendship on camera and really just play around and create that great connection.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there for that, which you can kind of see
And
in
I think
the
that's probably
relationships.
why it was Igby's personal favorite, because it was right before Homer started.
Yeah. I want to rectify my answer to a time at which Homer was present. We got to film in this really cool mall, and we have this great photo of all of us on the counter, and we got to...
Homer's not in that.
Hey,
No,
yeah.
but Homer was there at the mall
I was
with
there
us.
earlier, and then I left, and then you guys took the fun pictures.
We
And
did.
then we started having real fun once
it was-
Homer went home.
Maybe we're realizing that Brett and Igby are both unreliable narrators.
No.
Any favorite memory from shooting the pilot?
I think the first day sticks out to me because it's like first day jitters, first day of school, and you're like, how's this gonna go? And we sit down at the table, and there's just kind of a genuine chemistry between us in a way where your whole body kind of relaxes, your nervous system relaxes, and you're like, all right, I have 4 allies here. Whatever the fear or anxiety is turns into real excitement for what the rest of the shoot is going to be. What are you laughing at?
What's wrong?
I'm just thinking about Robert's body relaxing in those leather pants.
There is no relaxing in the.
There's no
Can I
relaxing
just
in
say,
those.
maybe, I know that I said Igby had the biggest undertaking, but the fact that Homer showed up to work every day and had to put on those leather pants every single day for 6 months should not go without mention.
In the beginning, it was like a yoke on my back to wear these leather pants. But by the end of it, I was asking to take them home to sleep in. It's really became kind of a Stockholm syndrome
They
situation.
also sort of shaped around.
They
They
did.
sort of became one.
You kind of
They became your skin.
you couldn't tell where they ended and my skin began.
They were your skin.
Yeah.
They
Whoa.
were the shape of Homer.
My favorite
abilities.
memory was the first time I put on those leather pants. Evan.
What a perfect moment to end on. Igby, Kaya, Homer, thank you so very much. This has been a real
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Evan.
That's all for this time. On the next podcast, which is already out, so give it a watch, I'm joined by the amazing Evan Rachel Wood and Wes Bentley. Be sure to rate, review, and follow the Shards official podcast. You can check it out on Hulu or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch new episodes of the Shards on FX and Hulu. I'm Evan Ross Katz, and I'll see you next time.